Okay, it is 10:03. This is the start of the Document and Rules Committee meeting on 10/21 in the South Garage card room. Card room. Yeah, not the garage, in the card room. So we'll do roll call. Denise,
Yeah.
Phyllis,
Yeah.
Kelly,
Here.
Pam.
Here.
Okay. So the final review of the rules and regulations revised 7/25 um, for approval pending. So it's now the 10/25 one. So I went and made the changes that we talked about at the last meeting and added some additional things in there. So one of the things that I would like everybody to go through this today so that we can get it to the board today, so we can get it on. There's a board meeting in 7 days, so we really need to get it to the board so they can get on the agenda for the board meeting for final approval. So if everyone would just go through it today, I think I've made all the changes that everybody requested and everything. So so that's going to be very important if we can just get this done and so that it can be done. So the final rules of guest policy. So there's some that we're gonna send directly to there are some things that we're gonna send directly to the board. We're gonna send the whole package to the board, but then we're gonna send individual things that we've discussed that they haven't had any discussion on. For example, the classification of the guests, the wheelchair policy, and that kind of stuff. So we'll send that separately along with the final thing so that they can focus on those things that they haven't already approved. So classification of guests, we did add the adult nieces and nephews to that as well. But again, one of those things is that everybody's, and we should mention this it should be brought up at some point, and maybe when they send out one of those things on Friday, that family summary sheets will need to be updated with those people's names on it. So that's one of those things. I mean, that's a procedure thing as opposed to a policy thing. So it's just a matter of, you just need to make sure that your family summary sheets have been updated to include people that you want to include in your family. So other than that, it's still at the 6 per unit without prior approval. We may get some pushback from the board on that, and maybe them thinking that 6 is too many. I don't know, but 6 is just parents and 4 kids, which doesn't seem like which doesn't seem far-fetched to me to have that dynamic coming to visit grandparents and stuff. So I think that's a fairly common thing. So, and then daily guests of 7 or more must be approved by management ahead of time. And they must provide their guests and visitors using the beach must provide their own chairs.
I have a question about that.
Yep.
So if it's on the family, do the family have to provide if a niece or nephew or grandson, do they have to bring their own chair?
So I was thinking about that. So there's not, we will not be able to regulate every single situation that comes up. So if you have somebody there and there's 2 chairs, other than the time so let's just say you're having visitors.
Yeah, my niece and nephew are coming. They have to bring their own chair.
So let's just say this is more about, let's just say that like holiday weekends, the air show, that kind of stuff. Even if you have guests for that, they should be bringing their own chairs because the chairs really are for residents. However, if your nieces or nephew are coming next week, it's not even season yet, so why should they bring their own chairs? So it's just
Even if it was, I think it should be limited to maybe each person's allowed a couple chairs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but how are you going to monitor? It's impossible to monitor.
No, but this is what I mean. So, but one of the things that I think that we're probably going to do that we're just not going to. Again, you cannot regulate every single situation that's ever going to come up. But the whole thing with the armbands and everything for special weekends and stuff, so it's like
And then you would know they would need to bring their own chair.
right. They would need to bring their own chair. If they have a wristband, they would need to bring their own chair. So.
And don't forget, people come and go from the beach.
Right.
The only time they're there at the same time might be the air show.
Right.
Otherwise, people come. I had a question when you said like 6 people.
Yep.
Is that for sleepover? Like during the day, do I have a limit to how many guests I can have in my home?
For the day with no sleepover, those people are considered visitors. They aren't considered guests.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's a classification are non-residents, but not as overnight guests.
And no limit to visitors.
No. Yeah, I say that, but I just
There is
wanna, I wanna,
capacity,
I wanna clarify that, but so if you're renting the, the Ocean Lounge and you're having a bunch of people here, the list needs to be given to the office so that when people come, they can be checked off for whatever event that you're gonna have, because I know that you have an event coming up, so.
Gonna come to my place.
Yep.
My nieces, nephews after.
Yeah,
6, 8, 10, I don't know,
yeah, so you can have as many people in your apartment as you want for,
just visitors.
so for just
Be there,
visitors.
don't worry.
Yes. For just visitors, but for, like at a special event, which you're gonna have, then, that falls under the rules of you're having so many people here and they need to be registered with the office prior to them coming, so. But, like I said, that is a classification. Visitors are a different classification than guests. Yep. So, is everybody okay with the way it's written now that we've
Yes.
added those things? And the fact is, like, again, like I said, we're not gonna be able to regulate every single situation that comes up, but these are just sort of,
Are we gonna write holidays and special events?
uh,
And maybe put like a sub,
To
like,
bring their own.
yeah,
So we-
holidays and special
well,
events.
if it's gonna be holidays and special events, it's gonna be, wristbands as well, so, that'll be a separate thing that the office will send out that says, if you're having people for the air show, blah, blah, blah.
But I think people should be aware, do you know what I mean? To know that holidays and special event don't have a free-for-all.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? With everybody
We could
coming,
even do the
right?
caption.
Do you know what I mean? Like something added in there with the exception of holiday and special
Yeah,
events.
maybe with the exception.
Right,
So for where would
like
you
where
put
it's
that?
added, right?
Where would you put that in here?
Under
Where it
visitors?
says beach chair or whatever. I need it. Where are we?
Oh, in this one right here.
Oh, okay. I don't guess so.
Maybe under.
What category, what number?
The last one, visitors
Visitors.
using the
Yeah,
beach
like,
must provide their own chairs.
I would do it under visitors, right?
I'm gonna do
Yeah.
it.
That's the only place.
Yeah, it's so hard. This is,
Could do
But
another.
this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm
Provide their
saying
own
about,
chairs.
they have to, so if
think that's
anybody's
big.
coming,
Yeah.
they have to provide their own chairs. And, but like I said, if you have a niece and nephew coming next week, nobody's gonna begrudge you having 2 chairs. You know what I mean? It's because there's gonna be a lot of them. So, but any other time, because what's gonna happen is if you're gonna have a bunch of guests, then they're gonna have to be approved by management in writing, and then we can just let them know at that time,
I
so.
just think that's kind of vague. Should provide their own chairs, because that doesn't say, like, they're coming down to the pool, it doesn't say time of year, it doesn't say. I don't know what you can add to that. I really didn't give that a whole bunch of thought till now, but now that you think about it, it's like, so if they're coming for the weekend, well, it's early in the season, so they don't have to bring that, but it doesn't state that.
Well, that's what I mean. There's no way we're gonna be able to regulate every single thing. The guest policy would be like pages and pages long, but if the general rule is you need to provide chairs, and
Yeah.
you can't complain if
Yeah.
you don't have a chair and you didn't bring your own chair, so.
You can't put something in here that's special events or high season,
No,
Because it says must provide their own
they
chair.
must provide their own chair, so it doesn't need to be any more specific than that,
Okay.
because you have to provide your own chairs. Whether it's high season, whether it's not high season, the general rule is gonna be you have to provide chairs. So, again,
And maybe residents have first priority to seating or.
well, this is so again, this is why we were saying that they have to provide their own stuff. So if you don't bring your own stuff and someone says, hey, secure, the beach
Yeah.
person comes on and says,
you have to be vague. If you're not vague, and
Yeah.
if you say A, they're gonna say, well,
Yeah.
we want B.
Right.
You can't box you have to leave it, we have to live here.
Right.
It's just common sense and courtesy.
Well, and the other thing is, we're getting new chairs at some point. We're having new lounge chairs orders and everything. So, it's really going to be so. Like I said, so we're not putting anything in here about the armchairs, but when the special weekends come, management always puts out something that says you just have to be registered. And they're going to have to get an armband.
That
So.
time they'll tell them to bring their own chair, right?
Well, and this is the rule. So the owner should know the rule is guests have to bring their own chairs. So.
And if a guest sits on a
They're getting
building.
kicked out.
They have to be asked.
Perfect.
But it's
It
gonna be
doesn't-
one of those things. It's gonna be one of those things. It's like, just like everything else, it's like, it's all gonna be about enforcement. So that's the whole part of it. So.
And it doesn't say anything about the pool or the promenade, just the beach is the only stipulation we're making.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Just
It
the
does say
beach.
the beach,
Yep.
right, you're
Okay.
correct.
So that's good for your nieces.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is this too, is I think, the pool is limited for the chairs anyway, so until we get more chairs, there's a lot of times residents aren't getting anything either, so. It's just one of those things that, until we figure out what's happening with that whole situation, then we're sort of.
They are ordered.
Oh, they are.
For the
Yeah.
beach, the ones
For the beach.
right? Yeah, so, okay, so. All right, let's move on to one of the other things, discussion of rule changes requested at the 9:30 board meeting. One of the things that I want to talk about too, based on what Phyllis had said at the last meeting. So if you turn to the next page, for the pet, the next document. So I added this thing at the top. It's gonna be the pet thing. Oh, no, not on that. On those.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Next
I
up.
got it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So that at the top, so that we make the distinction for the support animals and emotional support animals. I took that right off the Department of Justice website. So, and then currently the revised rules currently say no pets until we get approval from the board or the owners that we're going to be a pet friendly building. That'll say no pets until that makes a change. And this just starts this is the start of the emotional support thing. And we did add, like I said, in
In the rules.
and the rules, we did add the dogs have to go out to the lower garage for that to get.
Does that have to, yeah, is that gotta be 30-day notice? So we have to make,
So
I mean, last time you mentioned that they may need a 30-day notice.
they don't need one, but it would be a good idea. You can't just expect somebody to be like, okay, here's the rule.
Okay.
So it's just nice to let people know that, that.
Well, maybe we can get Scott to send something out.
Yeah,
In fact,
one of the things too is like, it's not gonna do any good if we can't get the board to approve the rule. I mean, that's the whole thing again. So we're not gonna be able to do that unless we can get them to approve the rule, so.
And this has to go to legal?
No,
Oh,
No.
none of it should have to go legal.
No, because that's,
Right. These are board
So
approved
laws,
rules, so
these
those
are
are,
I mean,
so the pet rules, the referendum or whatever they're calling it, that went there and then we'll see how that all plays out, so.
just want everybody to realize when you say your pet, even your pet, it's not your emotional support, it's an animal.
Right.
It's not, pets aren't really. Everybody's talking about with my pet.
The other thing is,
Yeah,
Ian.
yeah, it's
No,
emotional
ESA.
support, yeah, animal.
one of the other things that they asked us to look at is the wheelchair. So after our discussion at the last meeting, one of the reasons that we're currently having this meeting is because Mr. Barrett had something to add to this, and so we scheduled another meeting so that we could ensure that we got his take on this and, any objections that he had to it. Unfortunately, he is not at this meeting, so, we're gonna review the policy again. So, right now it states, a wheelchair is available for emergency use in the security office and the lower garage. For owner-owned wheelchairs, walkers, or mobility scooters, a request for reasonable accommodation must be made to the office to register their device. Once approved, these devices can be placed between in-house usage in the area of your parking space. Owners with parking spaces facing the wall may use that area for the registered device. Owners with parking spaces in the middle rows may only use the area in their actual parking space for their devices. Devices cannot be placed in the area between the 2 rows of parking spaces. Devices that are not currently in use for medical reasons may not be stored in the garage. So I think that covers pretty much everything with the walkers and the scooters. So we, instead of putting walkers and scooters and all that stuff, we just change it to devices. It covers all of them so that, it doesn't make it overly long. So,
There's something like you said, but enforced, everything enforced is so funny because the last day of our meeting, my neighbor that I parked next to, however, happened to like very much, has nothing to do with this. Bicycle's been sitting in the middle of the row. And nobody has said one, and it's not for me to say, I'm not telling somebody. You know what I mean? It's.
They're supposed to be going around.
And I want to bring this up here, and I would have brought it, especially would have brought it up if, Mr. Barrett was here, that, Denise and I went to the office to talk, to Scott after the last meeting, and Scott did tell us that, he had sent out 16 violation letters the week before. So one of the things that is important for, this committee to know, and when we talk about enforcement and everybody else to know, is the fact that, owners do not have a privilege to that information about who gets a violation letter. That is not the business of everybody in the building. That's the business of the person that's getting the violation and the management office. So that information will never be shared with any owner whatsoever. So even though Brooke thinks that nothing's being done, we all know that this type of thing is a process that, numerous notifications have to be sent out, violations have to be sent out before we can take the next step to move for finding and that kind of stuff.
We
So,
do have that committee, which I'm part of, but I never heard one thing.
so,
it's like,
so,
Even at the meetings.
we didn't even have a. me-
well,
I mean, we haven't
so
had
here's
a
the thing with the finding committee. Barbara had sent me something last month in regards to why we weren't doing anything about that. And I said, we had set up all the stuff for the finding committee and that we had sent it to the lawyers and the lawyers had it and that we assumed that that was no longer part of our purview and then that was part of the finding committees. So, but what happens is that somebody makes recommendation to the board has to approve it in a board meeting, and then it goes to the finding committee. So there has been no reason for a meeting for the finding committee yet because nothing has been approved for fines. So that's how that works, and that's why there has been no meetings for that again. And again, one of the things that everybody has to understand is this is a process. It's not like a one and done type situation. I can't remember whether it's 2 or 3 notices that have to be given to the person prior to action being taken. So I think after the initial 3, if it happens again, I believe it doesn't have to be 3 again. I think it's just,
Fine.
yeah. So it's just one of those things, but it is a process and it does take time because you have to give them so many days to cure the violation and that kind of stuff. So it's just one of those situations where it's not a short process. It just takes time and, owners don't know what's happening behind the scenes. So it's just one of those
Well,
situations.
I'm
where
glad to hear that
Yes.
they have been doing.
It is,
that.
it's a confidentiality thing
Yeah.
of things that are happening between the management and owner. So it's just one of those things that's why people think that nothing's being done. However, things are being done behind the scene that they're not entitled to know. So.
And he is gonna put a box around the fob system down in the lower garage.
So we talked to him about that before.
Right.
It'd be the rain that's hitting it, as Steve was saying, so they're working on that.
Yeah.
Well, I asked the guys the other day and they said, no, it wasn't.
It is, sometimes, yes, it is. They went down, everybody checked it. Hus didn't work once, so he said that.
I also, I.
You told me.
Yes.
He thinks, yeah, tell him what you,
So we went to Scott afterwards because Phyllis had brought that up and we went to Scott and, I recommended to Scott that a box be put around it because we had a lot of rain. And those things aren't watertight because, so they really need to be in a protected area. So they were going to put a box around it to protect it from the elements to hopefully ensure that's working every single time. So, yeah, so.
All right, thank you very much for sending me the finding committee.
Oh, you're welcome.
Documentation. I got it. I actually happened to read it.
Yeah.
And I think that the finding committee actually gets into action only if the owner that got the fine is not happy with the situation. If they're happy to pay it, everything's fine, and the finding committee doesn't even get into action.
So the finding committee does get into action. What happens after that is the grievance committee. So there's supposed to be a grievance committee as well. So if someone gets a fine and the owner doesn't agree with the fine, if they pay the fine, it's no big deal. But if they disagree with the fine, then it goes to the grievance committee. And then 3 people that aren't on the board and aren't on any committees make a decision about, whether that's, they have upheld or not. So it got a little bit murky there, trying to figure that out, but they were like, you can't have a grievance committee without a finding committee first. So because we did the work on the grievance committee as well. So, but at this point, nothing's being.
All right, I saw the document that you wrote and the document the lawyer wrote. And first of all, what you wrote is straightforward. It makes sense. I did have a couple issues with what the lawyer wrote and what you put down. That it's just open ended. It's just like it's definitely someone can come and sue back. So it's and this is one of the things that the board has talked about us doing a bunch of stuff and. Like I got up the last meeting and said, look, we're not going to waste our time if you're just going to send this to the lawyer anyway, because they're just going to change everything that we do. And it's just a waste of our time to do that. And then you're going to send it to the lawyer that's going to be changed. So, so that was the same thing with the pet rules. And like, we're not working on the pet rules if you're just going to send them and have them be something else. So speaking of pet rules, do we think of the situation, what happens if if the residents decide not to have it a pet building?
nothing will happen. There will be no pets and the rules will stay as they are.
But the pets are currently in-house,
Those are emotionally support animals.
So all those are still fine? Like,
Yeah.
the same situation basically continues.
Yeah, that won't change because that's a federal rule, so that can't be changed. So it's just about whether we're gonna allow actual pets or not to the thing. So those are the major things that we discussed the last time. One of the other things that we discussed is the Ring cameras, but we're just going to leave that for right now. Because I did notice too, I walked some of the hallways to see if you notice and this is just on our floor. I don't know if it's on every floor or not. The one of the walls in your little vestibule area there is a short wall, and one of them is a longer wall. So the doorbell is on the short wall. So if we are saying that we're going to allow them, and the doorbell the Ring doorbell has to be placed where the current doorbell is, then it shouldn't go any farther down the hallway than that door, because the other wall is actually wider than the doorbell.
Yeah,
wall.
but I've seen some of them, they're turned. So instead of it facing straight, they have it turned on an angle.
Oh, yeah.
They can see
Yeah.
me at the elevator. I know they can, but
Yeah.
that's where the issue comes in.
Why not allow Ring?
Well, it's not effective whether we're going to allow them or not. It's the yeah.
As people saying their privacy is being,
because
Cameras all over the building.
so not in the hallways though, not in the hallways.
Eventually it will be in the hallways.
Yeah, so I mean that was brought up at the last meeting, but one of the things that somebody brought up at the last meeting was that somebody's Ring camera is actually on a bracket and it's turned towards that person's door. So that's
Thank
that
God they don't walk around nude.
so that is one of those things where that's a little bit different. So according to Florida law, there is no
No issue with it.
no concern about privacy in common areas. The privacy concerns when somebody opens their door and you can see inside their apartment. That's where the privacy things come in. So you should be, it should,
That person should be lucky because their door now is more secure.
That's-
There's a ring door looking at them.
that's true, but so that's kind of where, so we're just trying to figure out, like we talked about at the beginning, it's like, the doorbell, the Ring doorbell has to be exactly where the old doorbell was, and, it can't be, because Florida law also says that you cannot record, audio without both people knowing that
Right,
it's being
yeah.
done. So it's one of those things that, you can record video, but you can't record any audio happening out in a common area. So, one of the things that somebody brought up last week is like, how are we gonna police that? That's perfectly fine if we can't police that, but if someone tried to enter that into some kind of evidence, it would be inadmissible because it was illegally obtained, so. So it's just, it's just one of those things. So as we get to, that again went to the lawyer, just for further clarification, because they brought it to the lawyer to start with, and the lawyer said, it's perfectly fine, you guys just need to decide, and then somebody brought up an issue, so now it's back to the lawyer again, so it's one of those things. So, but we will be, we wanted to get that started, wanted to get the discussion started so that, when it does come, when it gets to us, then we had some discussion about it, we can just, get it done and get it over with, so.
That's a Ring doorbell, but what happens if someone wants to actually put a camera outside their door?
So
Not even a doorbell, like just the camera.
you cannot, I don't believe that you can do that. First of all, you would be, that area is not your area to do anything with. That's why the Ring cameras would have to be exactly where the old doorbells were. So, because I mean, you can't put anything, you can't attach anything to any common area, so. So that would be, the reason for that, so, so is anybody, it's really unfortunate that Brooke didn't show up because I really, wanted him to be able to say what he wanted to say. But other than that, I think that's, does anybody have any questions? So, if everybody looked at the documents we provided last week with, the 725 one, if nobody has any further, no further edits, then I'm gonna provide the 1025, document to the board for approval at the next meeting. So if everybody has a chance, maybe take 20 minutes to look at the 1025 one and see if you have any edits. We're not talking about any, grammatical errors or anything like that, because we can fix those afterwards. But it's just,
This twice.
it's just intent at this point. Just, we just want to make sure that everything's covered and that, if you want, we can go through it real quick right now, but, I don't know that,
Made a few.
Yeah,
I'm
you
looking-
made a few notations.
Yeah, I
I
think I sent,
There's a little
yep.
going on to the garage level.
Mhm.
What about when a pet is in a stroller, which is very prevalent these, are they allowed in the lobby with the stroller?
No, still have to go out through the garage.
Are strollers allowed? The strollers for children?
It depends on whether you're annoyed or not.
How well they're behaving. Yes, strollers are allowed, strollers with dogs are not, because, it's pets.
Strollers, the strollers for the children.
Yes, yeah.
someone brought up the parking too, I think, about the 5-day.
Yeah,
7-day
Really?
parking.
Yes.
Yeah, I brought that, but you clarified.
Yeah, so guests can park in guest spots as long as they're registered to be here. So if you were going on a cruise, you would register your guests being here until the end of the cruise. So they would get a parking pass when they got here, and it would say what day that it expired, was the day that maybe they're staying a day after the cruise, or it expired the day after the cruise, or whatever. It's the thing in the rules with a 5-day thing is for owners. Owners cannot stay in a guest spot consecutively. They can stay in a guest spot consecutively for 5 days, then they have to move. It doesn't say they can't move to another guest spot. They just can't stay in that same.
Right, okay, got
You
it.
know how they do your tires?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They give you the ticket 2 hours later. If you
Oh.
didn't move.
Well, on the upper deck, there's plenty of park, isn't there on the upper deck?
Yes.
Yeah, you can park, I think I can park up there in the upper deck. Nobody uses it. Yes, yeah.
like
That's,
there's-
that's not guest parking. That's not guest parking. So guest parking is in front of the building.
Okay, so
I wanted to bring up something about fobs.
Mhm.
since we're gonna be looking to move into a different.
Yes.
When people buy fobs in the building, right?
Mhm.
And we get them from the office, they register them, so does we have to find out if the office knows how many fobs.
They do,
Each-
because I changed. They supposedly they do.
They, so here's the thing, they don't. So,
What do you mean they don't?
Just fix mine and put.
so they do now, because everything that they have right now is being registered. However, so, like I was saying at the last meeting, my fob died and I had to get a new one. We have three, so Bob and I have one and Uncle Bill has one. And so, I said, well, here's my fob, it doesn't work, you know. So she says, well, I need to know the numbers of all the fobs because to figure out which one so that we can get them registered. So apparently the old fobs are not registered.
So maybe that's something we really need to look at, because if so many people are going to Winn-Dixie making 8, 9 fobs, and Isabella did say to me, somebody came in and had a black fob, they turned it in. Now, we don't have black fobs,
Right.
so she knows it was a duplicate. If they're now starting to register, man, there's gotta be a way that we can, until we move to the next phase.
I talked to Alex in the, down at the pool the other day, and, he said they're currently looking into fobs that can't be duplicated. So,
Yeah, so
yeah,
we're looking into, we just had a call yesterday.
yeah, but the facial recognition.
Facial recognition or Bluetooth. Fobs are outdated, even First Service and their benchmark. You read, all these big companies are moving away from
Yeah.
the old key fobs. That's old school.
Yep.
So and we were on the phone yesterday, so we're setting up some meetings to have people come in.
Right.
These fobs will always, even the guy
Yeah.
didn't suggest.
Yeah.
So, but there's got to be something for the time being that we somehow could monitor. I mean,
You would have to have every single person come down here to the office and get it registered.
then we'll continue.
Because
No, what you could do actually is, I'm just in that field, I'm an engineer, so what you could do is each fob comes with its own ID. When it registers, you can click it in, but that's a process. So what you could do is you could send a message to all the residents, please come register your fob.
Yeah.
And then you register those fobs, and if a fob comes in that is not registered, just don't let it in.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's like I said, it's one of those things where everybody would have to come to the office to
Yeah,
get
no.
it registered, so.
Takes a bit, because I did that, would change
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, but in the time being, I mean.
Well, that's what I mean,
You
so
can stop, possible, people coming in that don't belong here. I mean, you gotta have some kind of a,
we didn't because half the time Uncle Bill doesn't bring his fob with him when he comes, and when he does come, it's usually after 6, so that nobody's in the office to say, okay, here, this is his, so it's just, because one of the things is, we bought his fob after we moved in, so it should have been registered because we bought it new. It didn't come, we got two when we bought the apartment, and we bought his new, so it should have been registered, but it wasn't.
I don't know who was here. I don't
And it
know.
was,
First Service wasn't here, so.
that was Marcella and Kara and those guys.
So can you give them the number on the back?
She said no, because I said to her, I said, well, there's numbers on them. Why can't you just, deactivate?
That's the idea.
That's what I mean. So, but apparently, and that we have them in all of our buildings. So, and I've used the program before. I know how they work. So it's just, I'm like, well, why can't you figure this out? Why can't you just deactivate my old one? Because it doesn't work anyway. And then the ones that are left are the ones that work. But she said no. So.
Just one more comment regarding the finding committee. So one thing I've noticed is that both the lawyer or your document missed is that when there's a fine going out, let's say some that decided to send a fine, there's no time frame regarding the fine, when the fine can be sent. So let's say, for example, I committed some kind of offense, determined that a fine is gonna go.
Right.
They can send me a notice like 2, 3, 10 years later even, if they want, for that offense, which is already like way out the door at this
Right.
point. It's possible a different resident already lives
Sure.
there. So we need to put some type of a timeline on that and talk to the lawyer and tell him like, listen, you didn't really put any timeline on that. It needs to be within 4 days, 7 days, whatever it is.
Right.
Also, in regards to revoking certain privileges in a building if you don't pay your fines or
Right.
if you get certain into trouble, basically. There isn't really a period of time there also. Like it says in a normal manner or normal time manner, whatever it is, it could be a year, could be 2 years, could be 10 years. I think we need to put some kind of a timeline on this because otherwise anything can go up to court, and at this point, it's like,
Right.
everybody's wasting time and money. Point for that. So I
What-
think we need to put more timeframes on those.
True. And so the thing is too, it's like, it's one of those things too, it's like, we can only fine them $100.
Yeah, I know, but it's $100, but that's not the point. If
Right.
someone is a stickler, he can take the entire building. It's just waste everyone's
Right.
time and money, and it's a lot of money.
Well, we'll mention it to Scott. Maybe Donna could just put a
Exactly. I can even tell you.
time. I mean, does it give you a timeline? Florida law?
No,
Statute doesn't give any timeline. I mean, so I could have $100 fine for the next 20 years?
No, it's when you're notifying the resident. So the resident wouldn't even know that there's a fine. Based on the rules right now, the resident wouldn't even know that there's a fine against them for as long as someone decides to send a message over. So if Kara, like, let's say is missing one day and they'll say, oh, Kara will probably send it the other day. She doesn't send, can go like this for 10 years. And then based on these rules, after 10 years, you can actually go and send a fine. And it's like, makes no sense.
Right, what happens
See
if
what
they
legal
don't pay the
says.
fine? Does it get attached to their condo?
I believe so.
maintenance fee?
Yeah, and it's up to $1,000. You can get a fine
Maintenance fee?
up to
In my old
1,000.
building, which we don't have, and they did this, I don't know, obviously, they must have checked it out, but they deactivated the
Yes.
fob.
Yeah, that's what
that's
he's
what I'm
talking about, the common area.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Dave is saying there's no time frame on it,
Yeah,
like, so,
as well. So there's no time for it. So it
How
could be
long?
like, we can revoke it for like,
means you
20
can't use
years.
anywhere and go anywhere in the building. There has to be a time frame.
You have to be able to get to your apartment.
no, I'm saying like,
Yeah.
if someone has a fine, didn't pay the fine, it could be, there won't be allowed in the pool for like 20 years,
Yeah.
which makes no sense. Like common sense, right?
And if somebody's selling their unit, they couldn't sell till they paid.
Yeah, that would be attached.
It will be a lien on it, so, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Good catch, Dave.
Yeah.
All right, got that one and this one.
Was that the lawyers?
That did it? Yes.
Was that the lawyers?
So the lawyer's one, yeah, missed those two. In yours, also, there's something else that I saw. By the way, I think.
Mine doesn't matter though.
I think that if somebody doesn't understand the rules, and the lawyer's rules are a little bit lawyerly like,
Yeah,
I know.
then somebody should sit down with them, and your document actually explains exactly what the lawyer says, but in human terms.
Are you gonna send out a notice to everybody, the rules and regulations have been updated, please?
Yeah, once they get-
Everybody read through your new copy,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
really, well, you can't
That's
say
what we're waiting for. We can't,
mandatory,
Yeah.
but, please.
this is one of those things that we've been talking about because we
Like-
can't do anything until it gets
so
approved.
hopefully they get approved at the board meeting and then they can make books up. And when people sign, by here, they'll have their rules. They could sign for the rules.
And so, and my recommendation is going to be, my recommendation for notifying owners is to attach, make an attachment to an email. Not go to Building Link and
I
look at
agree,
that.
and
I
maybe print
agree.
out a
Yeah,
book
why
and give
not?
it to everybody, how they used to
Yeah,
hand
they always know
everybody.
where to find it,
Right.
and also where.
Well, it would have to be posted to Building Link anyway, because it would be the new rules. However, when you notify them, I think a document needs to go out with it so that people actually look.
Because people don't go into building like.
People that internet savvy
You say
either.
something to them about Building Link, and they're like, what? So,
Wait,
So-
one more thing I've
A
noticed,
a
sorry.
book like we used to have.
They have them. They're gonna make them up.
Yeah.
One more thing I've noticed with the finding document is that it doesn't talk about any previous, like before, let's say before this takes effect,
Mhm.
what happened, like there's for sure people who got fined so far, for sure people are still in violation of certain things. Do they go full on it, like this document, like the lawyer didn't even discuss this in the document, like people already have some baggage, do they?
I don't
like,
believe
what's gonna
there-
happen with them?
I don't believe there's anything.
No.
I think nothing has been done. No violations have been done, no fines have been.
No,
Levy.
but like, there's some violations, 100%, I know
Oh,
for sure,
yeah.
because some of the, like, for example, with the current thing that just happened with the balconies, the restoration, all that, the buck on the wall, some people didn't do it, some people did, whatever it is, so if there's violations and this document goes into effect,
Mhm.
what happens to these people already had their stuff happen?
I think that they're addressing that with the impact window thing.
No, I'm not talking about that specifically, I'm just saying, finding, like, people that have violations in general.
Sure.
I don't know what the violation, maybe gas, maybe windows, maybe
Right.
pets, I don't know what. This document just doesn't specify, it doesn't say.
Right.
anybody who had a irregularity in the past,
Right.
once this takes effect, this will go forward, this will take effect.
Well, so here's the thing with that. So we have rules that are in effect already. So anybody that is in violation of the rule, the current rules, so it would still be, liable for those things if it ever got to the fining part of it.
No, but you can't. That's exactly the point. What I'm saying is, if I'm in violation right now of
Mhm.
something, and you send a new document that doesn't include my stuff from before, then I'm in violation. I can be like, screw that, I'm just in violation. Nothing's gonna happen.
Right.
Not $100, not $1,000,
Right.
and not revocation from the pool or something.
Right.
I just fall under the current rule.
We'll have to bring that up
Right
with the
here.
lawyer then. So.
Yeah, just, we got that down.
Yep.
We'll do the time frame
Mhm.
for the fining and the common area.
So if you were doing things, watch out, because you could be fined.
Listen, it's just common sense.
The thing
It's
is,
common
the thing is
sense.
this is I don't think any violation letters have been sent out other than the stuff that was happening with the puffballs and all that stuff prior to this. I think it's just basically just started.
Warning letter.
Yeah, so I don't even know that any warning letters were ever sent out. I think that, it was like a free for all and then, something is just, it's just basically started happening again that something is actually being done about rules being enforced. So, but it's a good point, past violations, but I don't think any of them, we'll mention that, but I don't think any of them have gotten to the point where they've gone to fining.
No, none.
So these.
Because they have to be brought up at a board meeting. They'll have to be brought up in a public forum.
Yeah, it's
so.
gonna be asked.
Well.
And the board can deny it.
Right. Yes, Nathan.
We brought up the impact, hurricane impact windows. Is that in this rules or is that?
No, that's the thing that's going to, owner vote. So, because that's a material change.
That's in Missouri. It's not,
Yeah,
okay.
that's a material change. So that has to go for an owner vote, so.
You have to decide if you want.
Oh, you
impact
brought up
windows
about the window
or the paths
treatments.
that you might approve in the building, basically altogether.
Right.
Yeah.
I did
Don't
bring up
confuse her.
the window treatments.
I
is gonna bring up.
added it.
Oh, I sent you a picture.
I added it.
Okay.
Will they be fined for that or?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a violation.
Yeah.
Okay.
so it's in there.
That's a violation.
It was in the old one. I don't know how it came out, but it was in the old one. So I just copied it over to the new one. So,
Because I think we talked about it.
Yeah. So.
So these probably need to be ready for season, right? This book.
Yes, that's why.
People come.
That's why we really need to get it to the board today. So it's just one of those things that it needs to get to the board. They need to be able to review it. I'm gonna send out things the changes that we've made to ones that we haven't discussed at the board meeting and they haven't already ruled at the board meeting previously. And then, to move forward with that stuff. So, but so like I said, if everybody could take a look at it, in the next hour or so that I can get it to them, because I do want to get it on the board, to the board agenda. So,
You're talking about the old, what?
The one he just gave us.
The one.
yeah,
To redo
the
again.
new one. So, just so we're aware, the table of content is going to be wrong because the numbers are going to be wrong. So I'm going to have to retype all those because that was done as a whole thing. So,
Okay.
but so a lot of stuff is close, but so it's just one of those things that
So all this, it has to be retyped again.
yeah, that's
You want me to do it?
the numbers are.
Just leave the.
Yeah, so if anybody is very familiar with Word, if someone could please tell me how you get this to start on page one of the document.
We did it all.
You're asking the.
Look at me.
So the Word document, so
All the
for the Word
pages are full.
document, so how do you get this in the document to
What is
be
it that- what do you
page
mean?
one
The rules.
of the rule? So these numbers are all wrong. All the page numbers are wrong.
Right, yeah. So to be honest with you, these numbers, if they're wrong,
Yep.
it's a lot of work to try. What you need to do, you need to go into each one of those sections on the top
Yeah.
and create them as a category of a paragraph or head of a settings or head of something, and then you categorize them, and then it'll just appear in there automatically. You have to create that table from, in Word before. So you tell Word, hey, I want to create a table of content, and then you have to go into each one of those lines and say, hey, this is a head of paragraph, this is a head of a whole section, this is a head of a chapter, this is a, and then it categorizes it for you and then creates a whole table of content for you. Yeah, just a bit of work, that's it, but it's straightforward.
Do you know how to do
You gotta figure it out.
that? So you open up a new document, right?
Yeah.
And you would type.
Do you know how to
So
do
what
it,
does
Holly?
say? No, I'm.
Oh,
asking.
So you set up a table in the Word document.
Yeah,
So,
I don't have it in front of me, but you
Yeah.
just go into Word and you say, I want to create a table of content in this page.
Right.
And then it just stays empty until you start filling it up.
right. Yeah, because this is a table. That's why I couldn't change any of the numbers. So.
Then they can't do that in office. Kara doesn't know.
They could. So.
In the same rooms, you can assist you.
Yeah.
with-
You'll never get it out to the board in time.
Oh.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm
Yeah.
gonna take the table of content out of here and just send from the thing to the board at this point. So then we'll worry about the table of content
Alright,
afterwards.
table of content, if you do it like this, it'll also update automatically. So
Yeah.
later on, if you move stuff and whatever, it'll just follow whatever
Right.
headings you set.
Right, perfect. Yes, yeah. So, but I'll send it out to the board without the table, without the.
Yeah, because the original book is all out of whack too, so they never fixed it when they did it back then.
Does anybody have any other questions or concerns? No? Okay,
David, you coming
Whatever.
with the kids?
Where am I going?
Pumpkin painting.
Yeah, I don't know. I told you, I'm not 100% sure we're gonna be here.
All right.
so
Love to.
if nobody has anything else, we're gonna adjourn. Oh, wait a minute, November meeting. So, I'm sure people are probably, traveling a lot for the holidays. So let's just try to get something in the book right now if we can.
Good thing is the Jewish holidays are off. You could do any date from now on.
Yeah. So,
Why don't you try like the 10th, 11th, something before Thanksgiving?
got, Uncle Bill on the 10th,
Okay,
Veterans Day is the 11th. So can people do the 12th, November 12th?
works for me, whatever. I'm here, so
12, what day is that?
Wednesday.
Like,
Oh, write it down. I think so. Right,
Alright.
12, if not, I'll
at
email.
10?
Yep.
12, hold on, let me just look 1 second. Not on.
Pam, are you good for November 12th?
Yeah, I should be fine.
Nobody has anything else? We're gonna adjourn the meeting at 10:51.
Thank you again.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
It'll be a long day for me.
Huh? All I do is go